Hey there, this time we're doing this at our house. And the reason for that is because we're not going on a stroller ride with Evie because life has been a little crazy. So welcome to our house. This is the cleanest room that we have. It's in the kitchen. And I thought, oh my gosh, if we film this in the kitchen, it's gonna look like a cooking show and I don't know how to cook. But the reason we're in here is because it's the cleanest part of the house. And that's because we have had the craziest week, a very unexpected week. You're probably wondering, oh Katelyn, what's wrong with your hand? So I had surgery on my hand on Monday, and if any of you have followed our story, you'll know that like in January, I had an aggressive tumor in my hand when I was 9 months pregnant. And so I had surgery on that, and so this was like follow-up surgery. Everything's fine, I can still move my finger, but at one time they thought I was gonna actually lose my finger, which was crazy. So I had follow-up surgery, and that morning, Evie, our daughter, she's 6 months old, she's adorable. If you want to, hold on, let me show you. Our mail is on the counter. Look at this, I just got it printed. She's the cutest little thing. So she doesn't look like this today. She's actually sleeping right now. She has a rash all over her body. And it started like on her stomach, and then it went out to her arms. It's making her skin swell up and it's puffy. And right now it's all over her face. So we have been, the same day that I got my surgery, we went to the doctor. Then we came home and she spiked a fever that was scary. Then we went to the ER the next day, and then we came home. We had to go back to the doctor. We have been to the doctor 3 times in 3 days and an emergency room visit. So it's been a crazy week, and I feel like everything in me wants to say, you know what, we're not doing this, like we're not doing Facebook Live because it's too crazy. But the whole reason that I wanted to start doing these is because our life is crazy with the baby and everything's unexpected. And I know that I can do this for 10 minutes or 12. We'll see how long it goes. But I had this thought, and I think during our crazy week, I have been really thankful for a lesson that I have learned over the course of the last year. And I really should say like the last 6 months, because Michael's gonna look at me like, you have not learned this, Katelyn, but I'm trying. So let me start off by saying I think that one of my characteristics that I am very thankful for in my life is that I'm very driven. And I think that's a good thing. And I think good things are great when they're not taken to extremes. So, for example, when I started my business, I was so I made it happen. I made everything happen. I got everything accomplished when it was supposed to be accomplished. I took big risks. I took on big projects. Like I just was thriving off of how much I could get done working. And so my example of good things being good in a normal dose. Like, let's take working out, for example. Working out and being healthy is like a really good thing. I think everyone would agree with that, right? But if you work out every afternoon when you get home from work, like 3 to 4 hours every afternoon, then you're gonna see really great results from that. But some other parts of your life are gonna be suffering because you're not able to show up in every other part of your life if you're dedicating so much of your energy and so much of your passion into one area. So I was driven and I was seeing results. I mean, the harder I worked, the more money we made, the more opportunities we were given, and the more things we just threw ourselves into. And it was so great. And I'm not thankful for that. I'm very grateful for it. But I think God has been showing us in a lot of different ways this year that you can get that same amount of stuff accomplished. And you can do the whole hustle thing in a healthy way. And I don't think I necessarily hustled in a healthy way for a long time. And so let me explain what I've learned. What I've learned is that my obsession or my drive to get stuff done, it's not in the world of working out. I mean, I'm trying to work out more. I just had a baby. But I think mine is work in general. Running my business is a good thing, but only if it's done in a healthy way. And I always knew that concept. It always made sense to me. I always knew that I probably was a workaholic deep down, but I never really understood why I struggled with it. And then I had a light bulb moment recently, and I cannot take credit for all this because it wasn't my idea. Michael and I have, if you've heard us speak recently, like in the last 2 years, or maybe you listened to my girl Jenna Kutcher. I was on her podcast and I explained that we have a life coach, and that has been transformative. I mean, Michael and I have we've grown so much in our life and in our marriage because we have a life coach. And I always joke that she's a life coach, but she's really a marriage counselor. And so I think Michael and I are like on a goal to break the stigma that marriage counseling is only for people who are about to get a divorce, because we're not in that place, but we like having someone speak into our life. So anyway, we met with her. We actually meet with her every 2 weeks. And a couple weeks ago, would you say it's a couple weeks ago? A couple weeks ago, she said, Katelyn, you know, I think that you have a problem with defining what work is. And she was right. The old Katelyn, as of a couple weeks ago, defined work as it needed to include my laptop, I needed to be shooting, I needed to be doing emails, I need to be editing, I need to be teaching like this, I need to be on social media, marketing for the business. That is work in my mind. Like, if I'm gonna get work done and be productive, that's the other thing. Productivity and work go hand in hand for me. So I value myself and I place how great a day was on how productive I am, and productivity has to equal work. And work to me was defined as business work. And she told me, she's like, Katelyn, you have to understand that when you get up in the morning and you change Evie's diaper and you read a book to her because she won't go to sleep and nap time's taking forever, and when you decide that you want to spend time with your friends that you haven't seen, you get dinner with them and you have good conversation with them, maybe in your living room, you're working. You're doing work, but you're just not doing the work that you've defined as work. And it's really dangerous, actually, to think that the only way that I'm being productive and the only way that I'm adding value to my life is if I'm working on business things, because it means that anything that goes against my definition of work is just something that's annoying, that's keeping me from being productive. And then you start to resent those things. So you start to resent diaper changes, which is totally normal, I think. But then you start to resent, like, hey, so-and-so wants to hang out. I'm like, no, I've got too much work. Or you start to resent the fact that family wants to come over, or that your husband wants to go out to dinner with just you. All these things, even if it's like life stuff. I used to put off going to the dentist. This sounds so bad. I used to put off going to the dentist, going to the chiropractor, taking care of me, because those things weren't necessary to be productive, and it was taking away time of me being productive. So what I've learned this week, and you're probably thinking, Katelyn, I thought you were going to talk about location and lighting. That's what I was supposed to be talking about today. But I'll be honest, when you are sitting in the emergency room with your daughter, and then you're taken to a doctor's appointment, she has a fever of 102, and my week has been crazy. And I just feel like this means more to me right now in my life than talking about locations in life. So we'll get to that next week. But I think defining what work looks like, whether maybe you already have it figured out, maybe I'm just the only one who thinks like this, but I think defining work is really important if you struggle with work-life balance. Do I think there's a real balance? I don't know. I don't know if there is a good balance. I think seasons come and go where you hustle, you work really hard, and then seasons where you get to relax. And we're definitely in a season where we're pulling back, whereas we've had other seasons where we worked, which was great. I think, though, no matter what season you're in, you have to recognize that you're doing work even if you're not doing emails. You're working on growing a family that I want Evie to be 16 years old and love family dinners with us, with her parents, and with maybe her other siblings. I don't know. I'm not pregnant. I want Evie to grow up thinking that family time is just as important as homework, and she's never going to learn that if her mom only considers her day as valuable and productive if she got in work hours. So this week, I haven't gotten to do my normal definition of work, but I still know that I worked on things in my life. I still know that I cared for my daughter, and I'm keeping her alive, and I'm keeping her fed. I cared for my family. We had a family dinner for my dad for his birthday last night. I'm doing work. I'm doing work relationally. I went to the chiropractor this morning because my neck hurts, because let me tell you, if you work for 8 years like this on a laptop, that's a whole nother video, but you can do some real damage on your neck. So I've done good work this week, but it doesn't look like the work that I used to do. So I'm still doing Katelyn James photography. I'm still working like I used to, but it means something different to me now. And So anyway, I hope that's helpful to some of you who struggle with that. I'm not a pro at this. I have to wake up every day and remind myself of this. I told you this has only been like a 2-week ago light bulb moment. I haven't been living this out for like a year. So it's very new to me. I'm passing it on to you, hoping it will be helpful to you. I think my hope for doing videos like this is a quick way to share what we're learning in our life. I think God is teaching us a lot of new things. I think that our business is changing in a lot of exciting ways. We are still booking weddings, and I still love shooting weddings, but I also love teaching, and so we're still figuring out like what this next season looks like for us, and I'm excited to take you along on the journey. So, other thing I wanted to say is we do want to talk about locations. Like, do you have questions about locations, finding good light? I do still want to talk about that. The reason I didn't talk about it today is just because my life it's been flipped upside down this week. But we will answer those questions that some of you answered in the comments last time we did a video. We will answer those questions, and any new questions you may have that you can leave in the thread below today, we'll answer those next time. The reason why we're asking those questions is because I think that is a problem area that a lot of photographers struggle with. And I think that as a photographer, I want to know how to help you, but there's a fly in our house, and he's buzzing around my face. Okay, that's disgusting. So anyway, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you struggle with and how I can help you. So some of you left really great questions, and I would recommend that you leave more if you have more questions. So if you show up to locations for an engagement session and you just cannot find good light, or maybe it's sunset, it's glowy, but it's so hazy, you don't know how to get good pop in your images, just tell me all the things that you're struggling with, and then we'll go from there. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that we want to maximize our time like this together. So we might do this on Facebook Live, but I heard a lot of women, specifically women, say that they loved listening to me while they were making dinner, or they loved listening to me while they were editing, or they loved listening to me while they were putting their kids in the bathtub. So I don't know what your story is, but we heard a lot of people say they loved listening, and so if it would be beneficial to some of you, and we're not going to do this unless it's a need, but if it would be beneficial to some of you for us to strip the audio out of these Facebook Lives, with these quick thoughts with KJ, and put it in podcast form. I am not trying to do podcasts because it's like the new thing. That's not my goal. My goal is to make this content and what we're sharing readily accessible to as many people as possible. And so we're going to put this on YouTube. We're going to email it out to our list to make sure that people get it in their hands so they can listen and watch whenever is easiest for them. So let us know what's easiest for you. Is Facebook Live great? Is YouTube going to be great? We're going to do those anyway, but the podcast thing, we're only going to do that if you tell us that it'd be helpful. I need to hear from you that that's what you would appreciate. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I hope it wasn't just a rambling mess. I really think that as people who are entrepreneurs, if you're in my shoes, you've probably struggled with it at some point in your life. If you're a parent, especially, trying to realize that your day is not a waste if you don't have time to get your email inbox down to zero. My day is not a waste. My week is not a waste because I haven't gotten my blog post up. My daughter's alive and she's healthy. She might have a really puffy face and a rash all over it, but she feels loved and cared for, and that has to come first. And so we're just learning as we go. And I hope that this is encouraging for you. But it's also really nerve-wracking for me because I do these and I can't see what you're saying. I can't see what anyone's saying. So if you think I'm crazy, I'll just find out in 5 minutes. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this. And next week, I promise, next week we will make sure that we answer those questions about locations and about lighting. So leave your questions in the comments below. Thank you for the encouraging emails. We got about 35 emails after we did this last time, mostly from people who feel like they can't keep up, and it was just encouraging to know that I struggle with that too, and I'm human. And so I thank you for the encouragement, and we'll do this next week. Bye.